Hi, buddy. How are you today? We're live again, and today we are talking about, we're starting the conversation off with what's going on in Israel. Now, I'm kind of looking to you to educate me on what's going on over there because I don't really know. I know very little. I know that there was explosions and missiles or rockets, and some people have been kidnapped and all this sort of stuff, and rumors of World War III and the Americans saying they have Israel's back. India said they have Israel's back. I think the UK said the same thing. So I can't really find a lot of evidence to say that there's World War III, but there are rumors of it. So if you have information about this sort of thing, then hello, Adam. Hello, Andrea. Then please contribute so that we can discuss it. Because this has been discussed in the Discord group. And the way that I discuss things is more from a metaphysical point of view. But, we can talk about from whatever angle you like. If you're new here, welcome. You have to be a subscriber for at least 5 minutes to participate in the chat. Please be respectful of everybody else's different opinions. If you choose to participate, you're welcome to ask questions about anything or talk about anything, but please keep it, PG. And we talk about truth-related subjects. So anything related to truth, you can talk about conspiracy stuff if you like. But I direct things to a more metaphysical, mystical point of view. So if that's not your thing, that's okay. But if it is, you're in the right place. So hello, eternal being. If you're here, say hi. Let me know you're here. We're just going to start off with the whole Israel thing as a discussion point to jump off with things. And I just, in terms of housekeeping stuff, I dropped Barbie on the website last Monday, 5 minutes to midnight. It was a very intense video. The process of making it was intense and thoroughly enjoyable, magical. I'd like to talk about it at some point. I don't know if I'll talk about it here or in a separate video, but a lot of really fantastic things happened in the making of that video. It's a very special video. It's only available on my website to devoted and committed members. There is a trailer that infatuated members can see, and even the trailer in itself is worth watching. It's entertaining and informative, but the full video is half an hour long, and I go through pretty much point by point everything in the movie. I try not to go over things I already did in the Barbenheimer video, so that it's more of a compliment to that video than a reiteration. So now I'm working on Oppenheimer, and that too is turning out to be quite interesting. And it's also quite an involved process. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to need more time to do it. I'd like to get it out on Monday, but it's not looking good. So I don't want to rush it. I want to make sure that it gets the attention it deserves. If by any chance I cannot get it out by Monday, I will still give you a video on Monday. And I will be working on the Oppenheimer until it's done and until it has what it needs. Because, these things, like when I was working on Barbie, I had initially tried to make it a certain way, and then I realized that it wasn't working. And so I needed to take a little bit of a perspective break. And then, so I went for a walk, and then I was inspired to create a video that was slightly different than what I usually do. And it was more creative, it was more fun, and it was divinely inspired. Like the first line of the video came to me, and then it just started to spill out. And I wrote the script for it in about, I don't know, an hour. It just flowed. And then the process of making the video, I was like, I had the mentality that I was just gonna like upload it, like do the audio, edit it, and then put some visuals to it and be done. And I thought it would take like a day. No, no, it's not gonna be like that. So then while I was making it, I got inspired to put like graphics and visuals and sound effects and music. And I was like, and even while I was still working on it, I was like, this isn't quite where I want it to be. Is this actually going to work out? And I just kept persevering. I kept going because I could see the end vision of what I wanted it to be. So I just trusted the process. And then it all just unfolded. And then one thing led to another, and it just kept becoming this beautiful, magical thing. And when I was finished it, I cried because I was witness to this divine process. Like it just spewed out from me, and I was like the conduit for it, and I was witness to it, and it was just this unbelievably magical process. And I couldn't even believe that I was honored to be part of it. It just blows my mind even when I think about it now. So if you've had a chance to watch the video, you might understand what I'm talking about. If you haven't, I hardly encourage you to watch it. As I said, it's on my website for committed and devoted members. So yeah, the new abundance spilling out. Yeah, Trixie. Maria Eve, hello. United Heart. Evolvement, hello. Adam, Bloody Brilliant, thank you very much. Nobody knows, hi there. Leaves and Grass is here. Sam Adi is here. Michelle, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Mary Cronin, hi. I watched my longtime favorite movie, Somewhere in Time, and I saw all the decodes, red, blue, different rounds. Oh, that's cool. Wonderful. Eternal Being, I really enjoyed it. You did a fantastic job. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, there's quite a few members in the chat. Welcome. I'm really glad to see you here. And if you are a member, please make sure you let me know in the Discord what your handle is, because there's a channel for members only so that we can communicate easily. I've set up, I have an email system, but there's no guarantee that people open the emails. And then I have also a forum on the website for members to communicate. But I wanted to make sure that we have like open dialogue so that I can, so we can talk back and forth about, what you like, what you want, how it's working for you, that sort of thing. And if there's ideas that you want to communicate, like ideas that you have for suggestions, I'm happy to hear them. It's like for videos or topics of discussion or anything like that, things that you're working on or epiphanies you've had, whatever, I'm happy to hear that. And I'm going to go to my members first. And also, I put in the newsletter that I'm looking for suggestions of topics to discuss for Vlogmas, which is coming up in December. And I'm going to be doing that again. So if you are a member, I'm going to go to you first. If you have suggestions, please get them to me as soon as you can so that I can prioritize your requests if I can do those subjects. If it's a subject I don't know anything about, I can't really talk about it, but I will do my best to look into the suggestions that you have or the requests that you have. And I have to be able to make them in a day. So nothing like heroic, but these videos have to be short, be able to make them in a day and keep it simple. So just bear that in mind. But I will keep those subjects in mind in the future as well. So yeah, keep that in mind. If you have ideas for Vlogmas, let me know. Trixie, can we be a member on single donation instead of monthly? No, not at the moment. The whole point of the member system is to have a continuous access and to have a more stable environment. And in terms of like single donation, I'm looking into some other way of facilitating something like that, like maybe bundles or packages or something. I might look into doing something like that. Because I don't, the way these videos are made is they're, I don't know. I gotta seriously think about that, because it, like in terms of the content of the videos and such, I have to think about it. But I don't want to, like the members take priority. So I don't want to make members feel like they are being shortchanged or anything, because, this is their reward for being a member and helping to support this channel, helping to support the content that I put out. And I want to make sure that I thank them and direct my energy and focus to fulfilling that. So I'm considering other possibilities, but I also don't want to spread myself too thin. What I see is throw everything at this, like Hitler's last gamble in the West, the so-called Battle of the Bulge, updated as flattening the curve in the last show. Yeah. Can't wait for Vlogmas. Yeah, it should be fun. I have a few things that I want to complete and get out first. So, but I want, like, Vlogmas was a last minute decision last year. So this year I'm going to be a little bit more prepared so that I'm not sitting there half the day racking my brain trying to think of something to talk about. It was very difficult to come up with topics and like topics that I could do in a day. And so I want to be a bit more prepared this time. Word of truth. Hello. You are looking and sounding well. Peace, love. Thank you. Hermetic principles for Vlogmas. Oh, that's a good idea. Thank you. Miriam, hi. I'm going to give you a wrench too. Hello. What's going on? I don't know. Escape twin flame universe. Nobody knows. Glenn Bordeaux, hello. So I started watching Escape, the twin flame universe on Prime yesterday. And that documentary is kind of rough. We'll talk about that later. So remind me later. I want to talk about this war thing that's happening. Like I started out saying at the beginning when we just started this recording, I don't know a whole lot about this war, what's going on. I've seen a few things. I've tried finding more information on it. So far, I've seen missiles, rockets, people getting kidnapped, a woman in the front seat of what looks like a golf cart with a smile on her face going on a joyride, and they're claiming that she was kidnapped. She didn't really look kidnapped, but okay. And she could pretty much like jump off the car if she wanted to. And then there was, just before I got on this live, there was a video I saw of people at a music concert in Israel who they had all these Hamas um, parachuters jump into the concert and started shooting, and then they showed all these cars on the side of the road. I don't understand how they got like this, but they were off the side of the road and they were all burnt up and everything. So, more stuff, like movie type stuff. Got to be sensitive to the ears listening. It's like typical tragedy. Yeah, in the metaphysical sense, for sure. I agree. Yeah, Adam. Gliders. Yeah, paragliders. Thank you. And then physical on the 50th anniversary of the Yom Kippur War. Yeah. Yes, a collage. Collage. Sorry, what do you mean by collage? But yeah, like I think Adam, you started this discussion in the Discord, and how a lot of people are there. There's different ways of looking at something like this. Well, there's like the traditional. There's different ways of looking at everything in this world, right? But like there's a traditional, standard way of looking at it, like it's all as they tell you, and then there's the sort of conspiracy way of looking at things, like it is a setup, a what kind of word? How do I word this? It's like a false flag type hoax thing, and that's going to draw people in on false pretenses to participate in some kind of war that seems to be on the horizon, according to rumors. There's rumors, like I'm saying, there's rumors of a third world war. I haven't found evidence of that. Has anybody in the chat found evidence of a third world war coming? Fabrication is a good word. Thank you. Reverend Galileo, hello. Yom Kippur is a day of atonement. Yep. Eternal being. I saw a person in uniform hovering over a child against a wall, but someone is doing the filming. It looks super staged. Well, here's the thing. Like, there's a lot of these events within this story, like the concert, the music concert, like these people, obviously, while you're in the concert, you're probably filming yourself, because there's loads of people there who are of that age who like to film themselves doing everything. So it isn't really surprising. But when you're running for your life because people are shooting at you, are you really going to be filming it? I don't think so. And yet they are. So I find that sus. So yeah, like the things that these people film are very suspicious. But that's part of the story, right? Yeah, exactly, Miriam. Thank you. The war will be the usual pattern of playing both sides while making money. Well, yeah, but it's all a big production for the movie that has to play out. And like Adam said, 2020 happened, and a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people, I don't really think too many people liked it, but it was necessary, and it is a gift to wake us up. And that's what this is. So it is an illusion of this movie that has to play out as part of the story. And the way I see it is that it's kind of part at the end of Oppenheimer, where all the rockets are going off, because this is a physical representation or negation of your inner Israel popping off. So the merger of the Israel and the rockets popping off. So that's the Kundalini connection, you rising into Christ consciousness. And so now it's manifested into this negative form to send the message. Just like Maui, just like Burning Man, just like Tiffany Gomez and all of that. It's all part of the unfolding of the movie. Did I miss somebody's comments here? I'm going to check. Collection of pictures unrelated. Ah, okay, Sam, yeah. PL, hello. Remember to give this video a thumbs up, please. Help the algorithms on the YouTube. We live in a mirror world. It's a projection, whether it be reflective or shadow. Yes, very well said, Adam. Thank you very much. 2020 was awesome. Empty roads, peace and quiet. This has to play out. Yeah, it has to play out for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of things about 2020 that I liked. Like, you know, I think it changed a lot of things for the better, but it changed a lot of things for the worse. Brought out a lot of good qualities and a lot of bad qualities in people. It was very polarizing. It's also purged a lot of things, cleaned out a lot of toxicity, and that continues to happen. I'm not following the current events, but in the Bible, Jacob becomes Israel. So connected to Jacob's ladder and the 12 sons of Israel, right? So Jacob's ladder being the middle pillar and the 12 sons of Israel being the 12 cranial nerves. And the Israel is the connection of the three at the top of the ladder. The Ida, Pingala, and I call it energy in the middle. Jacob had a twin brother who he fought in the womb and would his whole life. Yeah, I'm not very familiar with that story, but Israel is real. Yep. Israel Lies, a film, always has stunts and added realism effects. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things about some of the footage I've seen that looks a little bit suspicious, as in computer enhanced, shall we say. Esau was his brother. It's always war in Israel. Trixie, that's my life story. Oh, yeah, that's right. Hello, David Baxendale. Hello. My brother starved me in the womb, and we still fight, though he's in another hemisphere world. Isn't that funny? With this stuff, it's almost like what came first, the chicken or the flag? I don't know what do you mean? Like the chicken or the flag? Oh, meanwhile, the depopulation goes on. Well, what are you referring to regarding the depopulation? Because I don't really see it happening, but if you're aware of something I'm not, I'm happy to hear about it. More trauma programming for the masses. Oh, for sure. I mean, it's trauma, fear, keeping you in the fear trap and the fear mind. Is the event happening to reflect what's within or to preempt what's within through allegory? Yeah, okay. For sure. I mean, I think it's like both at the same time. It's kind of like, it's happening and reflecting, but you're seeing what's hidden outside. So you may not be aware of what's happening because it's hidden within you, but it's being shown outside of you. So all of it's happening now, but it's on various levels. Do you know what I mean? It's like a vertical rather than horizontal. It's rather than looking at things in terms of past and future and present. It's all present and it's all vertical. It's just on various planes of awareness. I dig it. Yeah, it's like, but yeah, has anybody heard any evidence of World War III? Like, what's the story there? What's going on with that? Because, as I said before, all I've heard is that there's certain countries who back Israel, and it. They've said this before, though, with Ukraine and North Korea and Russia and blah blah. We name the country. It's happened before. Didn't go anywhere. So when people say that it's going to lead to World War III, well, is it? Like, what's going on? It's a living story of an already told story. Yes, Trixie, exactly. It's like the past and the future happening all at once, going backwards and forwards at the same time. Between 2012 and 2018, the UK population dropped from near 70 million to 66.5, according to internet figures. Not sure what the latest figures would be. Okay. Okay, well, thank you. I saw a painted sign that reads, "It's all going to be okay." I say that to myself a lot. That's a good one, PL, because it's all going to be okay. I don't know if you saw the video where, I think it was in 2020, right when all that stuff started happening. I got a message from my grandmother. It was a song, and because I was getting really upset about what was going on in my life at the time, and I got a message on the radio from my grandmother, and it was Tears for Fears, and it was I knew it was from my grandmother because I remembered her saying, she came to me when she died in 1998, and she said to me, everything's going to be okay. And so when I had that moment and this song came on, it reminded me, I was connecting it to my grandmother. So it was a message from her basically reminding me that everything was going to be okay, and this is what she was talking about. So yeah, it is going to be okay. because it's just a movie. So the more you're aware of that fact, it can't touch you. So there's no need to get caught up in it. There's no need to be affected by it. There's no need to be emotional about it. There's no need to participate in it or fight against it or any of that. Just observe, because it's just a movie. Caged Reality, hello. Hey, TrueLove, what would your top 3 movies with a deep esoteric meaning be? Great question. Thank you very much for asking. At the moment, Don't Worry, Darling is top of my list. Barbie is second. And I think Under the Silver Lake or The Nines are close third. They're all excellent. The list is mounting. Poseidon Adventure is another one. These are all movies that I have decoded as well. The list is building. Westworld is another one, even though it's not a movie. Once Upon a Time. As Above, So Below is not bad. I might do a decode on that one, like quick one. I think it's worth talking about because it's very interesting. What else is there? I think those are the top ones. But definitely Don't Worry, Darling is top of the list. That movie's a freaking masterpiece. And I could watch it 150,000 times. Anytime people mention World War III, they say it's spiritual. What have you heard, Adam? I'm just curious, because a lot of people talk about spiritual war and that sort of thing. As far as I'm concerned, we've already been in World War III, and it started in 2020. So it's an information war. But if we're talking about a physical war, such as World War I or II, then, that's a different way of looking at it. Pattern of source reflected. Indeed, Trixie. Cadence, hello. Adam, don't lose the fear, but integrate it, own it, and remember who and where you are. There's no other outcome than being okay. Yeah, I'm going to talk about this later, but I'll touch on it now. I've talked to you about this channel called Be Something Wonderful. There's 2 channels that I really love for law of assumption, law of attraction. It's more a law of assumption. I love these channels because they go deeper and they make it a lot easier, which I always knew that it was supposed to be easy. And they talk about things from biblical perspective, from law of assumption perspective, but also in understanding who you are and declaring that in the sense that I am that I am. And so working on realizing who you really are, and that you create your experience. You have the opportunity to choose, even though your life is scripted. There are many options and ways of experiencing that. So you have the opportunity to choose that. So yeah, I'm going through that process right now. And when you say, like, don't lose the fear, but integrate it, own it, and remember who you are, that falls in line with that sort of thinking, because this is the teachings that it's all the same stuff, really. It's just this slightly more geared towards manifesting things. And it's not really even manifesting, it's just declaring that it's yours, and it appears. So the way that law of attraction and law of assumption talk about things, it's more from the perspective of attracting things, which still has that separation. Whereas what they're talking about is, no, you are it, and there is no separation. So that's how it comes to be in your experience because you already are it. But the more you see it as outside of yourself, so even the stuff that I talk about in what we're talking about here with like regards to the war and everything, it's not outside of you, it's part of you, it is you. So it's there to tell you something about yourself. It's the same sort of thing in terms of trying to evolve your personal experience, your reflected experience. So yeah, I mean, I'm finding it very useful and insightful, and I'm having quite a few revelations from it, which I will share with you. And yeah, like I highly recommend you go watch those channels. The second one is called The Rosy Life, and she's also very good. Searching the internet for population figures will show the BS figures. What do you mean the BS figures? But like even that though, it's like focusing on things like that is going to keep you in the fear because you're still looking at the world as physical. If there is that sort of, like I don't even pay attention to it because it's not relevant. To me, it's not part of my experience. I don't see it. I don't participate in it. I don't acknowledge it. It's irrelevant because this is just a movie. So whatever is happening out there, it's, if you're choosing to see it as a threat, if you're choosing to see it as an agenda that's coming for you, they're doing whatever you think they're doing, it's going to keep you tied into the fear. And it's okay, but do you want to go past that? I imagine that you do. Otherwise you wouldn't be here. So I'm telling you the way to get past that, and that there is a way to get past that. So the more you focus on these details and these aspects of the story as fact or as true, the more you stay locked into this idea that it's a physical reality. There's someone out there to get you. There's an enemy, and that's all us versus them. It's all duality, and it's all internal versus external. It's the separation. It's not in the middle path. You're still on a fear pillar. You're on one of the pillars. So it's very difficult sometimes to recognize, because I think a lot of people, I'm not talking about you specifically, it's like when you're in a situation of recognizing these things like conspiracy, finding the truth, realizing the world isn't what it seems to be. If we've been in the fear so long, we don't know what fear, we often don't even recognize we're in the fear anymore until you are out of it. And there's been things, like I said, when I'm going through this process with Be Something Wonderful, I've recognized things that I've been carrying that are fearful that I didn't even recognize were fear. And it's not like, the reason that you don't recognize is it because you're not sitting there cowering in the corner crying or terrified. It's just a belief that you have. It's an opinion that you have. It's a perspective that you have. And it's keeping you locked in a box. And we're trying to get out of that box, right? So it's the fear-based perspective is what I'm talking about. You're not like, if I point out that somebody's thinking something that's fear-based, you may not be sitting there going like, I'm terrified, I'm not going out there because it's a horrible, scary place. But if you're having thoughts about the world being a certain way that are based in fear, that is a fear-based perspective that's keeping you small. And the more you look at how you see the world and what you want from life, the more you realize, well, hang on, I've been thinking this, and it's been keeping me small. And you realize as well how scared you are of your power, how scared you are of being powerful and acknowledging that power. So there's all of these little niggly negative thoughts and beliefs that we've carried around with us that are fear-based, and things like, I can't have that, or that's not for me, or it's all right for them to have it, but that's not for me. Those are fear-based. You're afraid that if you have that, what's the outcome of having that? Are you going to lose it? Is it going to hurt too much if you lose it? So it's all part of some kind of fear. And it's usually fear of getting hurt or fear of loss, which is, again, if you are God and you are everything, you can't lose anything because you're everything. Pretty much what you said, it's a what on the mind and soul. It's part of you. Yeah. I do not focus on that. I am realized and here to warn folk. I am happy for a reason. Happy for no reason. That's good. Hello, Raina. The day I transcended ego, I became free. That's great. Miriam, when I listened to the news today on Sunday, there was an overview of the week. The presenter said the best stories this week. Bit weird when you're talking about a war. Yeah, kinda. Reverend Galileo, the only fear that is legitimate is primal fear that warns us of immediate danger, but we hang on to this as trauma for too long. Well said. Yeah, I mean, even then, like there's sages and gurus who will say that there's no need to fear that because really you're only fearing death and there's nothing to fear at all. But yeah, I agree. Like if something's coming at you and you want to avoid it, that instinctive fear is what helps get you out of harm's way. So I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with feeling. And it's just an indicator to guide you in the right direction. So yeah, like if somebody's coming at you with a knife or whatever, it's going to be kind of scary. You kind of want to have that fear get out of the way or protect yourself. Steam and Stream 2. Hello. How are you so knowledgeable on esoteric symbols and occult information? Recommended any good sources? Thank you for asking. Very good question. I think I still have a long way to go, but I learned mostly from decoding. And whenever something comes up in the message, I look it up. I don't particularly have a specific resource that I look at. But yeah, like once I figured out that it's all connected to the zodiac, a lot of those answers come from that. There's a lot of good resources about Freemasonry. Don't be afraid of any of it because it's just information. And you can find out messages or information on occult symbolism. Just Google it. I mean, honestly, it's everywhere. It's pretty available. I've done a lot of research in the past 6 or 7 years now. But it's basically like Taurus language. Everything's connected to the zodiac. Everything's connected to the Taurus. Syncretism is a huge piece of the puzzle that will help you. Etymology and understanding where words come from, and they come from the zodiac. The Bible, Bill Donahue, Santos Bonacci, those people are very resourceful in understanding the language. which I call the star language. English is English, Angelish, star language. I mean, all languages are connected to the zodiac. It's all the same language. It's just manipulated a little bit to make it different. And let's see. But yeah, basically, astrology's helped a bit. I'm no expert in astrology, but I picked up things as I go because I don't want to overwhelm myself or, get too bogged down in all of that. I go as the information is presented to me, and that's how I figure out all of this information. Sam Adi, death is a process where no one dies. Yeah. I mean, it's an illusion for sure. Like, you die, but you don't you don't actually die. Like, the essence of who you are. PL, what is odd to me is if this place is a school or a test, it seems we have very different tests depending on when and where we were born. Seems unfair. I don't know. What is your interpretation of a school or a test? Because I don't see it that way. To me, this is a story and we're in a movie and we're here to experience life. We're here to have an experience as a human and forget who we really are, which is a god, and put the pieces of the puzzle together. It's kind of like a game. It's a story. It's a movie. It is the greatest love story ever written. It is, it's a tragedy. It's a comedy. It's a romance. It's a drama. It's all of those things at once. But if you're seeing it as a school or a test, then that's what it's going to be for you. But it's, there's definitely aspects of that in it for sure. But I see it more as a story, as a movie, and all of the things that happen to me in my life, in my story, happen because the story is pre-written. And while I'm busy thinking, so there's the way I see it is that there's the undercurrent of your main story, and then there's the superficial stuff that you're busy doing while your undercurrent of your main story continues. And then eventually the two merge because you wake up. It's like the bottom of the boat in Poseidon Adventure comes to the top. Your subconscious or your unconscious story comes to the top, and then this superficial story disappears. And that's how I view things. And if you see things as a test, then you're going to continue to be tested. If you see things as a school, then you're going to have perpetual lessons to learn. From my perspective, it's more to do with here's your story, and you have a choice as to different ways to experience it. But this is your story, and this is who you are, and basically you have to go and remember who you are. So there are things that we need to shed or overcome in that story. So in that sense, you can see it as a school or a test. Vedic is the most accurate astrology, Sam. Adam, it's the perfect school. Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah. Sam, Adi, live this life as a way to continue your next birth as you wish to carry on your next sojourn here. Yeah, if you want to come back here, it's perfectly fine. I don't want to come back. I'm done. And that's perfectly fine too. But if you want to come, you might even get to a certain point where you're like, oh my gosh, this was so much fun, I want to come back here. Because a lot of times the people who say they don't want to come back, they're in the fear stage. So when you overcome the fear and life becomes fun again, then you're like, well, hang on a second, maybe I will want to come back here. And who knows, maybe I'll change my mind. But for the time being, I don't want to come back here. Not because I hate it here, but because it's kind of boring. And I'm kind of entering into a stage where I want to make it more fun for myself. So maybe I'll change my mind. So yeah, if you choose to come back here, then you want to prepare to come back for that journey. But you also want to live your life now, because everything is now. So what do you want out of this life right now? And you're being concerned about your next life. Well, you're not living that life. You're living this life. Be concerned about this life and how you want to experience your life here and now. What do you want from it? What do you want to how do you want your story to go? Because that's all you have here right now. That's it. Now. What's the latest really good movie you've seen or rewatched? Do you go to the theaters? I go to the theaters once in a while because it's basically the only kind of entertainment in the real world that I do. And the last one I went to Barbenheimer. I saw Barbie and Oppenheimer when they came out, and those were the best movies I saw recently. Top Gun was really good too. Interesting, TrueLove. Thanks for your thoughts. You're welcome. Adam, there isn't a test, but for me, it's a beautiful experience of which you can study your story and the nature of how this realm works. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's all, I mean, you can look at it any way you want. It's not, it's just, it's a story, it's a school, it's a game, it's a movie, it's, it's all of those things. It's quite magical how it's so nuanced and multi-layered, and like, if you can choose it to be a tragedy, you can choose it to be a horror, you can choose it to be a comedy. Like, what do you want it to be? How do you want it to play out? With regard to world population in the physical sense, how many do any of us really interact with and without internet? Exactly. I don't know what to call you anymore because you keep changing your name. So Dr. Juan, and your current title is so long. Yeah, exactly. Like, I think the whole population figure is an illusion anyway. And when you think about how many people that you interact with, like, that's what you should be concerned with, is all the people that are in your immediate circle and the people you care about. That's really all that matters. It's not like, even if there was some kind of major agenda or anything, what are you going to do about it? There isn't. It's just a story. So don't let it affect you, and don't let it get, to be some kind of scary, evil thing that you feel you need to fight or anything, because you can't do anything about it, even if there was one. Find your nakshatra as a guide to help. What do you mean by help? Help in what way? And yes, I've heard quite a bit about nakshatras. My friend is very good at Vedic astrology, and she tells me a lot of stuff about it. And A lot of times it goes over my head. I find it very complicated. And like it's just there's so much that I'm learning about everything else, more like God in terms of the decodes and you know, well, everything else that I have been coming across and experiencing and learning and has been, I guess, revealed to me. I don't have the time or the space at the moment to get so invested in learning the nuances of Vedic or like any astrology. That's why I kind of take it in as it comes. And so, yeah, I have touched upon nakshatras every now and then as it's necessary. I learn a little bit more about the Vedic stuff, find it fascinating and very beautiful, very nuanced. And I do think that there's truth in the various types of astrology. I think for me, my way of interpreting the stars is the story. So I don't particularly want to get too entangled in these traditional ways of interpreting the stars and everything. That's why I want to take it in as I need it, because it's a bit more practical for me, and get overwhelmed with all this information. And so for me, I take it from the story of the stars, the story of the zodiac, the one story, which is reflected in everything, which is what I show you through the decodes, but it's also in the story of the gods, the myths and everything. Like it's all there. So it's all the same stuff anyway. So it's all very beneficial. The Santos channel has become extremely toxic and vile recently, and just letting you know. Oh, wow. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, I haven't been there in a long time. I unsubscribed quite some time ago because of the toxicity. I don't know what's going on there. But it's really unfortunate. Like I say, the stuff with Santos that I learned that I found hugely beneficial was his earlier stuff. I think it was 2012, 13 to 2018. Anything after that, I don't pay attention to. Anything up to 2018 was good. But thanks, Jason. I see this reality as a neutral field, and what frequency we radiate causes the neutral field to match how we feel. Yeah. I discovered I am an avatar, so will come back to support people and make them wise to what's going on. Sam, what do you mean you're an avatar, so you will come back to support people? What do you mean by you're an avatar? Dreams give you insight, as does this place. I think it's many things, and that's why it's perfect for where we are when we came here. Well, I have a healthy family, free from physical and spiritual contamination, as I did in my previous life. That's interesting. That's good. Natasha, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Don't forget to hit the like button. Thanks, Natasha. Glenn, new t-shirt, depopulation begins with you. My movie's a comedy. Wow. Speaking of which, like I was at the grocery store earlier today, and I walk in and it's busy. And so one of the things that I'm going practicing is turning things that that are unwanted into things that I want, and not accepting anything less. So when I went into the grocery store, it was kind of busy. I'm like, I don't have time for this. I got to get in and out. So I set the intention that there's not going to be anybody at the tills when I go and check out. And while I was going through the grocery store and the aisles, there was a lot of people in the aisles, and I said, nope, there's nobody here. It's empty. There's nobody here. So while I was navigating my way through the aisles, I kept repeating, there's nobody here. There's nobody here. And even though I kept interacting with people, because I repeated that there's nobody here, they didn't bother me. And before, I was getting bothered by all of these people, like blocking the aisles and stuff. And I'm like, no, there's nobody here. There's nobody here. And so by the time I got to the register, there was nobody in front of me. The register was clear and open. So I just sailed right through. So I'm starting to focus on that sort of thing, and I'm finding it enjoyable. Understanding yourself divine, you will find it a massive help. Your mind is perfect to understand your nakshatra. Excellent. Okay. Thank you very much. Steam and Stream, do you find it difficult to discuss these sorts of fringe topics with friends and family in person? Yeah, I don't. I am fortunate enough to have a couple of friends who understand and watch my channel, so I talk to them about it, but I don't talk to anybody else about this stuff. So yeah, they just wouldn't understand it. And there's no point. There's no point in talking to people who do not understand or appreciate it, because it's an uphill battle. It's even people who land on my channel who are in the fear, or they have a lot of built up beliefs that are resistant to this sort of information. It's very difficult to talk to those people, even though they're more receptive to talking about this sort of thing. And it's kind of like anybody and anything that you talk about, that if you have a preconceived set of beliefs or preconceived notions, and you're trying to you're trying to talk about something that they don't understand or they don't agree with, then the barriers will go up, and there's no point talking about it. And I'm sure you've experienced the same thing. Trixie, I find with any topic that you might be studying, I take in layers until it's familiar, and then add new layers of details. For sure. Yeah, it's very beautifully put. He's toxic. I can't watch him because of it. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I guess just it's painful to watch. I think he could share a lot of info too, it seems. Yeah, I mean, he's got a world of information, and he's just, I think he's let his ego get the better of him in a lot of ways. Nobody knows. Masculinity, that's what's going on with Santos. Yeah. Yeah, like that. Like masculinity is tied in with ego as well, like the masculine side of the duality realm. And if you're going to get caught up in that sort of thing, it's going to get the better of you. So it's unfortunate. Hopefully something shifts. It starts with the Sapta Rihis. I'm sorry, I'm probably not pronouncing these things right. The 7 avatars revolving around the pole star, all realized people on Earth. You mean like the planets? The planets are the gods? Yeah, I agree with you. So, yeah. Adam, it's like he fired his circuitry and got pulled to a pillar. Yeah. Yeah. Which is disappointing. But, hopefully he gets out of it. What is an avatar? Good question, Apotheosis. I descend each lifetime despite being fully realized. If you want to understand yourself and join the spiritual process, you have to study Vedic knowledge. This way you will escape the Western confusion, you mean? surrounding these matters. Avatar takes birth despite being free from further births. Avatars are always fully surrendered. We are alive here now, 7 of us. Interesting. Yeah, I agree. Do you have a channel, Sam? Like, do you share your information? Or, like you were saying, that you are here to help others. So, is there a way that you go about doing that, or is it just in your normal life? Apotheosis is an avatar manifestation of a deity in human form. Yes. Right. Okay. So yeah, Israel will make a really nice smoldering crater. I appreciate your sense of humor. Oh boy. Uh, yeah. Yeah. I agree with you, Sam. You want to change the subject, Trixie? Yeah, by all means. Oh, he did, yeah. The fact that your name is Jesus Jamboree makes it funny. Avatars are not recognized by most people. What do you mean by recognized? Yeah. Um yeah, so you're a god in human form, and it's yeah, you're just like everybody else, but there's added awareness and gifts. Yeah. So like in the Maui video I did, there was uh, a moment towards the end where it said, one of the women, I think her name was, I think that was the what was her name? Fina Davis. She was talking about escaping, and she said that her friends couldn't get out because they had no gas and they didn't know where to go because they didn't have any guidance, which was really just code for when the people wake up, they need people to guide them. And so there's people here who are here to guide the ones who wake up. And yeah, there's not many of us. I think you can reach self-realization without Vedic astrology. I think so. I agree. I think there's many ways to get there, but I'm sure it helps. Yes, everyone is an avatar they're not realized. You could also use the knowledge of it to compare to others. Cadence, you look beautiful today, lady. Tan. Well, it's not, it's makeup. But I did go in the sun. However, on Tuesday and Wednesday we had beautiful weather, so I went to the lake and I sat on the beach, and it was fantastic, and the water was really nice, and I sat there and I read a book for a little bit and had a really nice break for a couple of hours, and it celebrated the end of summer, so it was quite nice, and so I did get a bit of sun. Thank you. I'm finally gonna start tanning this winter. Have wanted to for many years. Are you in Australia? Finding similarities across the board. Yeah. Trixie. Enjoying but off to bed. Listen tomorrow. Okay, Miriam. Sure thing. I mean, as opposed to Vedic being the only path, not against it at all. No, I know you're not against it. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I was just adding Cadence. Oh, well, you can tell it's makeup. Beach sounds beautiful. Michelle, find a genuine guru is the best way. I'm in Michigan. So you're gonna tan? Oh, you mean you're gonna go to like a tanning booth or something? Because normally I don't really think about tanning in the winter. I did at one point. I suffer from seasonal affective disorder sometimes because uh, I need sun. I need the sun, and in Canada in the winter, sometimes the sun can go away for quite some time in the winter. And so I used to go to tanning booths to get some sun, and it did help. And but I haven't done that in years. But I do like to sit in the sun. I like to get my sun, but I didn't do that very much this year. Uh, the sun just felt extra crispy, a little hot. I don't know whether it was the time of day I was out there or what, but it just felt kind of extra, extra sizzling. Yes, tanning booth. Okay. Isn't that looking for truth outside yourself? Well, the way that I see the I see like truth in terms of um, balancing information from outside and information from inside, and a lot of the connections I make are internal, but I do get information externally as well. So it's not just a one-sided thing. Those who guru themselves have a fool for a devotee. Well, I would disagree with that. Um, because I mean, it depends on what you mean by guru. Like I say, I've balanced the external with the internal. I don't have a guru. I'm my guru. I refer to myself, but I do also talk to other people, and I also look outside myself for what is available, and in terms of like books or internet or YouTubers or other people, but I always check within. And so, yeah, like most of the connections that I have come from within, and the answers are all within you. So, I don't think that it hurts to have a guru, that's for sure, but I don't think you need one. And I don't think you have a fool for a devotee if you don't have one. But, you know, um, I definitely want to be I definitely won't be going crazy on tanning booth because it's probably not good for me. Well, if you haven't been tanning for a while, probably not. Start slow. But I find it keeps me healthy, happy, and I need the heat and I need to have the sun. So I find it beneficial. Some people, they don't need it and don't need it and don't like it. My sister, for example, she has paler skin than I do, and she doesn't go out in the sun. She gets hot very easily. I'm more on the cold side. I need the sun, and I get cold very easily. So I like it and I need it, and I have a different kind of complexion than she does. I take after my dad in terms of skin complexion, and she takes after my mom. Ryan Stevenson, hi, I missed the part on Israel. Do you mind providing a brief overview of your thoughts here? Your Maui video is a masterpiece, by the way. Thank you very much. I'm glad you liked my Maui video. I thought it was pretty darn good. What I liked about the Maui video was that it was, I made sure that it was addressing people at all levels. So because I knew that it would be of interest to people who are new to this information but are curious about Maui. And Maui is very hot topic. I know it took me a while to get to it, but I had to do it when I did it because of all the other things I had to do before that. Everything that I do is in perfect divine timing, and so there is no wrong time for doing it. And I realized this, that every little finite detail is perfect divine timing. And a lot of that is also revealed to me in terms of all the nuances and details that I pick up prior to making certain videos. Like even, Barbie and Oppenheimer, all of these little pieces are falling into place and revealing new things to me. And so yeah, like the Maui video, I wanted to be able to make it clear and straightforward and concise, easy to follow for people who are new to this information, and yet also complete. And I think I accomplished that. So, and also entertaining. I really I watched it again after I posted it, and I was entertained. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. Thank you. I'm glad you liked it as well. I'm not going to repeat myself about Israel. We kind of moved on about that. If you want to go watch it in the beginning of this video, you can. If there's something specific you want to talk about regarding it, I'm happy to talk about that. But yeah, I'm not going to repeat. So if you want to go back and have a look, but I do think that it's connected to Oppenheimer. I do think that it has to do, like, Israel is Isis, Ra, and El, 3 connecting, and so it's the 888 Christ consciousness pop off type of thing. So I do think it's connected to Oppenheimer, and it's part of the story. So I'll say that much. Self-improvement is one thing, but to transcend all, a guru is required. I don't agree with that either. Yeah, I don't agree. Like I say, beneficial if you have a guru, beneficial, but so there's a guru I watch who is, and I guess, like I say, it depends on what you mean by guru. But the one guru that I enjoy watching is Shrinamurti, who is the Sat Yoga Institute. I find his content highly interesting and enlightening. However, I think I've surpassed him, and I'm not saying that from ego. I think that there are some things that he still talks about have fear in it, and I do benefit from a lot of the things that he says. But I don't have a guru, and I don't think I need one. I think that the world is my guru, and my internal guidance is my guru. But it depends too, because like, I don't know, it depends on how you approach things, and your approach to truth, and how devoted you are to it, I guess. And so I'm also very much someone who promotes, do it yourself. It's a solo journey for a reason. So, like I said, I don't think it hurts. I think it's beneficial if that's what you want to do, but you don't necessarily need one. Um, a fool flatters himself, a wise man flatters the fool. I have managed to awaken just fine without a guru. So, Sam, are you resonating with TrueLove's message videos out of interest? I'm guessing that the answer was no, since the messages were deleted. So, good question. Nobody knows. There's very few that are truly awakened. I wouldn't put my faith in someone outside of me. Many profess to be a guru. So what's happening in Israel feels prophetic. Yes, of course, it's all, well, it depends what you mean by prophetic, but yes, I mean, it's all just a movie. The guru's dependency on something outside of yourself, which is contradictory to what is self-realized. I spent several years with Franklin Jones in North Carolina in the early 70s, quite a mixed bag, but he was a heroic figure nonetheless. Are you here because you follow true love? The guru is inside? I'm guessing not. Replace guru is with Jesus, and then it's like I was back in church. Yeah. Well, it's taking over the conversation, not even an agreement. Yeah, exactly. So thank you. I guess cannot. What? Is anyone in the invisible church now? What do you mean by invisible church? Did you ever make an analysis on Westworld? Not yet. It's coming. um, yeah, there's some. I did touch on it. I did touch on Westworld in the Parallel Universes video towards the end, so there's that. And if you haven't seen that and you're a fan of Westworld, that's really beneficial. I think it's like 15 minutes or something on Westworld alone. But yeah, I'm going to be getting to Westworld probably early in the new year, just because I have Oppenheimer to do. I have Don't Worry, Darling to finish. Then I have Johnny Depp. And then I also have Vlogmas in December. So I have at least, like, Johnny Depp's going to be I hope it's not going to be a huge video, but it is, I think, going to be a big video, and there might be more than one. So it's going to come after that. So if I don't get to it after Johnny Depp before Vlogmas, it's going to come in the new year. There might be, depending on what happens in the real world on the big movie screen, because I try to stay current with what's happening so that it's relevant. Then, if there isn't anything that comes up that takes precedence, then I will get to it after the Johnny Depp stuff. So those are the big things that I want to do first. and then I want to get to Westworld. But yeah, that's coming. What's the invisible church? I know somebody asked me about the OA as well, and I have watched it, and there's a lot in it, but like these analyses, decodes, they take a lot of time. First of all, to watch them. I watch them, then I go back and break down in detail. Like, I broke down the entire series of Westworld in detail, practically minute by minute. That's a lot of work. And, but it's worth it to me because I find so much information in it. But that's 4 seasons. 4 seasons of, like, what is it, 13 episodes a season. That's a lot. And then I have to go back and analyze the breakdowns that I did so that I can put it in an organized fashion and then make a video and then make the video. And the video itself can take quite some time to make. So it's very time consuming. I was also thinking of doing, I don't even know if it's worthwhile, but like a casual observation or discussion of, say, like Once Upon a Time or something that's a little bit more, it's not as dense. It's not as, that there's a lot in it and it's worth discussing, but I don't want to take the time to do Once Upon a Time and do like a heavy breakdown. I could do like a reaction video type of thing, or I could just do an overall mention about some of the major points of Once Upon a Time and leave it at that. But I gotta be selective and where I put my time because it takes a lot of time. The one video I did, what was it? It was only 10 minutes long, so it didn't take long, but it was worthwhile doing, and so it took me a day to do that video. And that was the one about one about the spaceship. Forget the name of it, but that took me a day, and so it's not like I can just bang out these things in a day or something like that. If I'm going to do a proper job, like Barbie took me to make the actual video took me a week, but before that I had to watch the movie. I think I watched it 3 times and wrote notes, and then went to write the script, and then rewrote the script because I didn't like where it was going. And then I recorded it, edited it, put in all of the images, and then special effects and all this sort of stuff with music and stuff. So yeah, like the actual video itself took a week, but the preliminary work would be another week. So like 2 weeks for Barbie video. Sounds like a cult to me, the Invisible Church. Ryan, I felt that the message in Westworld strongly correlated with your perspectives. It does, absolutely. Westworld is a perfect example of a perfect representation of our world. And I find it so exciting, this like Westworld. So yeah, it's going to be a series of videos with Westworld because it's a series, like it's so huge. The Gnostic Church is invisible. May I ask, do you find yourself as a black sheep in your 3D family, or are they supportive or see common ground and perspectives? I don't find myself as a black sheep, no. But I don't share all my perspectives because they don't, um, they're not traditional perspectives anymore. So there's no point in sharing them. I do talk about some things. I drop seeds, which is helping. My family's starting to come around. Even my sister's starting to see some stuff from a different perspective. So for my sister, it's more in line with law of assumption type stuff. She's starting to see a little bit. There's a bit of a window there. But with my parents, it's more the practical political stuff, and they're starting to see some things from that angle. So that's as far as it goes for my family. But yeah, in terms of being a black sheep, I don't see that. I don't feel like a black sheep. Stephen Snowman. So being awakened means seeing reality as a big movie and nothing is real. And how do we achieve this awakening awareness? And I know what it takes to edit videos. I've been in production since 1980. Awesome. A fellow video person. I love it. In some sense, yes, it does mean seeing life as a big movie, because it is. Because nothing is as it seems. I mean, it's real in the sense that you're experiencing it, but it's not as it seems. It doesn't, to us, it seems like a physical reality, but it isn't. So you are seeing the reflection of what is within, and so you are in essence creating it, but it's already created. So if you look at it in the sense of like the zodiac, and you put a magnet over, not a magnet, a magnifying glass over one part of the zodiac, that would be your life. And so then you move the magnifying glass a little bit, and you can change your story a little bit. You can change your focus. So it's all about perspective and perception. How do we achieve this awakened awareness? Well, you can watch my videos. That will help. Basically, it's a change in perception. So if you're not there yet and you can't see it that way, me telling you that it isn't going to help, because you're still going to see things the way that you see them. But the fact that you've been privy to this perspective, it could help you get there. But you're the one who has to do the adjustments within in order to actually see it. So it's the same. If you think about in terms of like that painting with, or that drawing of the woman with the way it's drawn, it looks like an old woman from one perspective and a young woman from another perspective. And some people can only see one or the other, and you want to be able to see both of them. So you can see the middle, basically. You can see both and the middle. But no matter, even if you tell, if you show someone the picture and you say, what do you see? Some people will say young woman and some will say older woman. But if you tell them that there's a young woman or an older woman, then sometimes they will be able to see it. Some people won't be able to see it. But eventually, because they know that there's something else to see, they will eventually see it. So it's kind of like that. And movies are interpretations of reality. Reality is a dream rendered reflection. Yeah. Like the fact that you edit videos is a benefit to you. Like, I don't know where you're at with your ascension process, but if you edit videos, then try editing videos together, like similar to what I do, because that will reveal it to you. It reveals a lot to me, in terms of time, in terms of synchronicities, and how the story is, there's only one story being told in various iterations. So when you start cutting, say, pick a bunch of movies that have a similar theme or whatever, and you start cutting them together, you will see that there's a similar thread across all of these movies that seem to be totally unrelated. And it's like, I don't know how long you've been on my channel. I've seen your name before. You've been in the live chat a lot. And so, if you look at, say, the story of your life video, where I've cut together a lot of movies, you can see it in there. Hero, Awakening the God Within, that video as well will show you how all of the stories come together as one, and that helps you to see the one story that we're in and how it plays out in its various iterations and its derivatives. And you are the star of your movie. You are a god, and you can find your God story, which helps you to find out who you really are. Have you done any research on John D. Reyna? Very little. He was an astrologer, astronomer, alchemist during the late 1500s in the English royal court. I saw a random post about him. Seemed interesting. Yeah, I know very little about him, but I did do, at one point, I think this was when I was doing my Shakespeare research, and found out that he was Yes, it was. It was during my Shakespeare research, and I went back to the Elizabethan history, and I realized what a crock of shit Shakespeare was, and that whole story. And I came across some information on John Dee. He's a very interesting character, but I didn't go in depth on him because I was focused on Shakespeare. But it is a very interesting, interesting era, interesting story. And I did think that I wanted to go back and find out a little bit more about him because of his role and what he was, but I just haven't. But yeah, that's really all I know about him. I see the truth of what you're saying and have done self-reflection to see how I create the reality in ways through events lining up with some humor daily. Oh, cool. Thank you for explaining and like your work. Cool. Thanks, Stephen. Yeah, like those videos would definitely, have another look at them, especially from an editor's perspective. And you see how you create the reality. Check out Be Something Wonderful's channel. He's really good in terms of helping you see how you are creating your reality and doing it deliberately. Nobody knows. Get Into My Car is my favorite. Yeah, it's one of my favorites too. That's another video that's really good in showing how the movies are showing you the one story. I rewatch a lot of my videos many, many, many times, especially the creative ones, because I get a kick out of them. And they reveal things to me all the time, new things all the time. And so I think that you're in a very good position being an editor. Just from my own experience in having that tool at your fingertips to be able to do that, it will show you a lot. And I think you'll find it a lot of fun too. Because and you probably already know this from the work that you've done on whatever you've edited, and in how the composition comes together and how the whole, it's almost as if it's already there. You're just revealing it, kind of like Leonardo, I think it was Leonardo da Vinci said when he was carving statues, he said, I'm just revealing what's already there. I agree. Like, that's really all we're doing. It's already there. And when you're creating something, you're just getting rid of the excess that doesn't belong there. And that was the experience I had when I created Barbie. it was already done. And I knew it was already done. And I knew while I was going through that experience in the very beginning, I was like, okay, this isn't working. I'm getting interference, noise, Ixie's acting up. I've been here before. I'm just going to go for a walk because this isn't the right path. This video deserves better. There's something else. There's a different approach. And then it came to me and it was all done. I could see it was all done. In the first line of dialogue, I could see it was all done. And even though I couldn't see it clearly, I couldn't see all of the nuances and details and in the entire video, but I could tell it was done. And I didn't want it to click. It was like, it's like you're trying to contain it so that it doesn't come out, because if it came out now, I wouldn't have anywhere to put it. I didn't have a piece of paper to write on. I was out for a walk. I'm like, okay, it's there, but like stay in the can, because if I open up the can, the worms are going to pop out and I'm not going to have anywhere to put it. And then I'm going to have to start to put all the pieces together to compile it, and I'm going to forget. So wait till I get home. So when I got home and I started writing it, it just all like poured out it almost perfectly. Like there was stuff in there that I still edited out and refined, but it was almost all there perfectly. So yeah, it was such a magical experience. And then having it while I was working on it, I needed a break because I've been sitting at the computer for like, I don't know, 6 hours or something. I'm like, I gotta get up, I gotta move. My body's killing me. So, but I was like, I gotta get it done. And then like, no, Yolanda, get up, move, and do something for yourself, because you have to balance things out. You can't just sit here and put this video out and that's all you do. You have to get up and walk. So I forced myself to go for a walk, forced myself to have dinner and take a break, and went back to it refreshed. Because if I don't do that, then I'm going to get angry, get frustrated, start seeing things all crooked, and it's going to ruin it. So it's beneficial for me to take a break. And sometimes I forget to do that because I get in the flow. And I'm sure many of you are like this. I don't know. Like I get in the flow and I'm just like, I just got to get out this one last thing. And then that leads to something else. And then that leads to something else. And I don't want to interrupt the flow. And then every time I take a break and come back to it, I always feel better. And the flow is still there. And, you know, sometimes just like reaching for things or getting inspiration, or, you know, like I thought I was finished the whole video and I had output it and I was ready to upload it. And I was like, hang on a second, there's something else. And I went back and this inspiration came to me and I was like, no, I have to add that. I can't put that video out without putting that in there. And I was excited to have caught that last detail to put in the video because it was important. And I was like, just as much as I didn't want to have to re-render the fucking thing, I did. And I'm glad I did. And it was just one freaking image that I needed to put in there, but it had to go in. Ryan Stevenson, music is the same. When I write, the structure reveals itself. Yeah, music is totally, the creative process is the same. You see it. Yeah. So if you create anything, it reveals itself to you. I mean, whatever it is that you know, baking, writing, music, even acting, like anything that you create, it will reveal itself to you if you're paying attention. Life is a Fairy Tale is my favorite video of yours. Oh, thank you, Raina. I'm glad you like that one. I like it too. Steven Snowman, I'm a DP and first AC gaffer, more field experience, but have edited from analog to digital, digging on DaVinci Resolve. Cool. Step back and view after a break with all creative projects end up making themselves. Yeah, exactly. So that's cool. Yeah, like I've had, well, here's another thing. Like a lot of people who are in the fear conspiracy mind have an issue with people who ever worked in Hollywood, and it doesn't even matter what it was that you did. So some people have an issue with that regarding me. And I was a background performer for 17 years, and I wanted to be an actor, wanted to be a writer, filmmaker, that sort of thing. And I learned all of those skills while I was working as a background performer. I studied improv and comedy and writing and producing and directing and all of it. I taught myself how to edit. I taught myself how to make movies. I learned on the job. I watched and observed how film and TV is made from being a background performer. It was an immersive school for me, and this was my path. I was led to do that so that I could make videos now and also learn from it. Learn from the experience of being on set, learn from the experience of understanding how films are made, because we live in a movie. So now I understand how films are made, and I understand how this reality works as a result. I understand how to put videos together. I understand the creative process, and, also interacting with the people in Hollywood and who they are, seeing that firsthand. So some people in the conspiracy world or the fear world, they have an issue with that. And I can kind of understand it, but it's a little closed-minded, and it's a little bit, it's going to hold you back and prevent you from seeing things if that's your perspective. And there's quite a few people who work in music, entertainment, film, TV. They were aspiring actors or what have you, who are on YouTube because they naturally gravitate towards this sort of thing because that's their skill set. You're good communicators. You like to be on camera. I mean, all of these skills aren't something that is for everybody. So if it's not for you, you're probably going to get bored or drop off. You won't commit to it. You won't stick around. It's not your passion. Or you'll just, record yourself on your camera and upload it and not care what it looks like. I care what my stuff looks like. And I get more out of it, and so do you. So, so like one of the things that I did several years ago, I made a movie, and it's not finished yet. And it got disrupted by COVID, and so it isn't finished. But I have an IMDb page, and I have a few credits on there, not a lot, but I also have my movie on there. So there's, I wrote it, directed it, acted in it, and produced it. So I have all the credits that are tied to my movie that I made, and I made it for next to nothing. So yeah, people are, if you find that, you're going to think, oh, I work in Hollywood. No. If you're ignorant of how Hollywood works, and you're ignorant of how movies work and how the industry is, then maybe that's your perspective, but it is an ignorant perspective. I made that movie myself. I made it for $2,000. So, and it's not finished yet. So that doesn't mean that I work in Hollywood. It doesn't mean that I am one of them. It doesn't mean that I'm some big shot Hollywood executive or anything. Totally not. This is what I do. This is me. This is my apartment. This is where I live. So yeah, it's interesting. There are a lot of people who are on YouTube who are have experience in that area because that's where their interest lies. That's where their skill set lies. It's totally natural. I have to say a big thank you for showing how interactive the TV and radio and even the YouTube can be. It's amazing what just seems to come, which sparks an aha moment. Oh, for sure. I mean, everything is interactive, everything. And, a lot of when you see things as separate from yourself, it's kind of shocking. But when you realize it's just you talking to you, it's not shocking anymore. Weird sync this week. I had finished watching What We Do in the Shadows, and then I clicked on something of yours, and you posted how you worked in an episode of it. Yeah, one of the live chats I talked about, somebody was a big fan of that show, and I talked about it, and yeah, I was in an episode of that, and I posted a couple pictures, I think, in Discord about it. But yeah, I was a background performer in that, which was kind of cool because I got to meet some of the people, like from Star Wars. What's the guy's name who was in What We Do in the Shadows? Anyway, I was a big fan of Star Wars, and so meeting him was kind of cool. But yeah, I'm in the Jackie Daytona episode. Yeah, Andrea was the one who brought it up. Know your onions. There are white, red, brown skinned, and there's always spring in small bundles, but most fall. Really look at the layers on Ion. Cool. Yeah, it was cool having that little sync, seeing her post like that. Mark Hamill, thank you. Yeah, Mark Hamill. And so yeah, like there's been a few times where I got to meet people, and it's cool, like it's just part of the whole story. And I went through the whole fear phase where I was like, what am I doing? I don't want any part of this, like, satanic industry. And I still don't really like the idea of the way that it's run. There's barriers for a reason. So yeah, there's that aspect to it, but that's like every industry. They're all blocked. Everything is set up with the pyramid structure. So yeah, yes, I know exactly what you mean about the flow with videos, hence my Tales series, never planned in advance. I just speak as it comes, never know how long each video will be. Yeah, like even that, like anything in life is like that. Everything like I was saying before, everything is preordained or pre-planned and divinely timed. So it's like if you like all the people you meet, sometimes even the things you say, like when you feel like you're in the flow, like where are these words coming from? Even like I was saying some time ago, like where are these thoughts coming from? Because and who's controlling my attention? Because there's certain things that call my attention that I wasn't really interested in, but then I end up looking at it and it leads to something. And I'm like, well, I almost didn't even look at that. So like, what's controlling my attention? So all of these little aspects of life that you kind of take for granted that seem like you were the one who did it actually aren't. It's not you doing it. So if you pay attention to these little details and you pay attention to how intricate it is and precise it is, and you start to notice those things, it can be quite magical and kind of shocking. So, like, for example, I was talking to somebody about some of the the things that were going on the screen. And I noticed that some of the things going on the screen had to do with me personally. Like it was a reflection of me and my life and my story. And then I noticed that some of the things that were going on involved a friend of mine. And I was like, I gotta talk to this person about this. I don't know how they're gonna take it. I don't know if they're gonna understand what I'm talking about, but I have to talk to this person about it because that's what I see. And this person deserves to know. So we sat down, had a talk about it, and realized in the discussion that this conversation could not have happened at any other time. It couldn't have happened before, couldn't have happened after. It had to have happened then. And it had to have happened after I had done certain things or seen certain things, made certain videos, certain things were revealed to me. And, it was just so obvious, not just to me, but to the person I was talking to. It was so obvious to both of us that every single detail has been pre-mapped out. And it was absolutely poetic and beautiful, but shocking. I never get notified I'm starting to not like YouTube. Dupsy Daisy. Oh, well, welcome. There's a few things that you can do. I understand like the frustration because I know a lot of times I don't get notified for things. Check to make sure the bell is on. I'm sure you have, but if the bell's not on, there's like 3 options you can have. Make sure the bell is on. Another is make sure you're getting all your notifications. So if you go into your settings and set your notifications so that all of your notifications come through. Another is if you are accepting notifications from a lot of different channels, some other channels might get buried. So if there's channels that you subscribe to that you don't really pay attention to, then maybe don't unsubscribe if you're still interested, but just take the notifications off and then or diminish it. And then another thing that you can do, what was the other thing? I think that was it. But the other thing is I'm here every Sunday at 2:00. So just remember that I'm here. Eternal being, all this talk of creativity is perfect. I'm painting a creative project right now. I'm so in the flow of it. It's hard to look at the chat. Excellent. Yeah, I mean, painting is absolutely the same thing. Unsub and resub and unset all the things. That might work too. Thanks, nobody knows. My bell is on. I noticed too that comments are being deleted and likes from the creators are deleted too. Yeah, there's all sorts of silly games going on with this place. I put a notification on my phone for TrueLove. Yay! I like the sound of that. I didn't know you could do that specifically for certain channels, but yeah, that's a good idea. Oh, you mean like you put a notification on your phone, say every Sunday at 2? It's a good idea. So put a notification on your phone every Sunday at 2 to be here. Okay, so it's 11 o'clock at your time. But you're here now. You're here now. Yeah, like, I like to try different kinds of creativity. And, one of the things I just started doing was painting. That painting, this bigger one here, that one's mine. The other one is a friend of mine. There's another painting over here I'm still working on. There's a painting there, there's a painting over there. So yeah, I started painting in 2020 for something to do. And I enjoy it. I don't consider myself very good at it yet. I'm not terrible, but I'm just playing around with things and ideas and learning how to do different things and like figure out my style. And I don't really care. I just do it for fun. I do it to have something different that's not on a screen. And I like colors, and I would really like to be able to get to, I guess, painting landscapes or something, because I really enjoy those types of things. But I try to like play around with ideas and develop new skills and that sort of thing. But it isn't a cheap hobby, that's for sure. I also have a guitar. I have a guitar over there. It's been in its case for years. I haven't played it in a long time. And my problem is when I pick up something, I tend to get into it that I do it for hours. And I really should just be able to pick it up and just like play for half an hour and then put it away again. But I'm not like that. I end up doing things for hours. So, but anyhow, what else do you want to talk about? We have an hour. What's going on with you? What's new? What experiences are you having? Anybody having any synchronicities they want to talk about? The last little while I was talking, I think last week, about alligator, and I had a couple more of those, and also like the exploding head. Oh, excuse me. That was another one. And following that, I had some street theater. I won't get into it, but it was interesting that it was connected to the street theater. And so that unfolded. What was the other? We were going to discuss. Yeah, okay, I'll get to that too. So this was really interesting because nobody knows. She sent me a text and she's like, I had a synchronicity with bananas, and we were talking about it in the chat. And so I went and sat outside, and I was watching my favorite YouTuber, and she went to a thrift market, and she usually looks at artwork and paintings. And the first thing she looked at was a painting of a banana. I was like, what are the odds that it's a banana? She's looked at artwork before that's all fruit, and it's never been a banana. It's an odd thing to paint too. So that was one. And the etymology of banana is like there's something growing from within. So to me, it's like about Kundalini rising. So that was kind of funny. We were going to discuss the twin flame thing. Forgot about it. Thank you. So yesterday, I started watching this series about this YouTube channel type situation. I don't know if you heard about it. It's called Twin Flame University. Somebody did an expose on it, and it's on Prime. So if you're interested in watching it, that's where you can find it. I think there's only 3 episodes. I'm on episode 2. I found it a little bit disturbing because I'm looking at it from the perspective of, people like us who are online talking about this sort of stuff, because it's very closely connected. People talk about twin flames in the New Age. And so they've picked up all of this like New Age lingo, New Age talk, but also spiritual talk, mirror work. Some of this stuff is true. But then they take it to a new level of ickiness. And these two people basically seem to be manipulators, con artists, scammers, liars, narcissists, and they set up this twin flame universe or whatever, kind of like a school, and they made it into some kind of recruiting system where they started to build a pyramid scheme. And so they had all these people working under them as a pyramid scheme as coaches, but they ended up having to try to recruit more people because they were making money by recruiting people. So then they're not making any money, but the people at the top's making a lot of money. And then they started flaunting their money, and it was toxic. Like for a while it was okay, and then all of a sudden they would turn on their clients and they would attack them. And they would guarantee that these people would find their twin flame, and then they were pushing these people into, first of all, believing that the person that they found was their twin flame. Second, pushing them to behave like stalkers to attract their twin flame. And some of these people are going to jail, getting arrested, having restraining orders put against them for all the things that they were doing to try to attract their specific person, their twin flame. And then the person who was conducting the investigation was a journalist, reporter, and you tell she even said she was looking for her new story, came across this subject, and started to investigate by going within, from behind the scenes to study what was going on. It didn't like what she saw, so she started to talk to all these people who were participating in the program, got interviews with them, and, she got interviews with parents and stuff and friends of the people who were involved in this thing. So to me, from this perspective, it started to look like a bit of a setup, knowing what we know about this sort of system and everything. Started to look like a setup, and it probably is. These people who have this twin flame universe could be planted people, and they're making it look toxic. They're making it look mental. They're making it look dangerous and cult-like. But it wasn't necessarily cult-ish. It was more scammy, pyramid scheme-ish. And I just found it really dark and depressing and awful that these people would do that, and like, whether it's real or not, or manipulated or not, like, just doing it is icky. Another reason not to look for a guru. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I totally agree. Like, I think the way they went about it, like, okay, it's one thing to have an open forum discussion and openly discuss, hey, I'm having a problem with such and such, and somebody's there to help you. Like, there's ways to go about it. But these people were bullying and pressuring and berating these people. It's like they started telling them what they should do and what they should think and how they should behave. I mean, that's not right. It's like, this one person said she wanted to be a musician and she wanted to perform, and the guy's like, no, you don't. And she's like, yeah, I do. What are you talking about? And he's like, no, you want to be a coach. I was like, wow, okay. So yeah, it was just icky. I don't even know if I could bring myself to watch the third episode, but I mean, did you watch the third episode? Nobody knows. Did you finish it? Like, the way they were setting up this documentary, the music, the tone, the suspense, the way that it was set up, it was like it was a documentary on serial killers or something, or murderers or whatever. I expected there to be bodies. I expected there to be some like suicide or something awful, because it was so serious and so dark and so awful. And yet the first episode, I was like, okay, what's so bad about this aside from the, the funneling into this $8,000 program they want you to buy? Like that's awful, but there wasn't anything yet that was wrong or bad or toxic. And then towards the end of the episode, I was like, okay, that's not good. And then the second episode was a big whammy, and I'm like, yeah, that's not good. Oh yeah, telling them to change gender. Yeah, there was like one woman was told she should get a sex change. She should become a man. And then they started arranging people into couples, convincing them that, well, that wasn't your twin flame. This is your twin flame. And then they forced these people together and said, well, this person in the group is your twin flame. And then they forced them together to be a couple. And this woman was like, no, this isn't going to work. I'm not interested. So, yeah, like, I think I came across this channel at some point years ago and thought, what a messed up situation that is. They were essentially convincing people that, this is what I don't like about the twin flame subject, is they teach people that the toxic relationship dynamic is your twin flame dynamic. No. They teach you that one person is the runner and one person is the chaser, and that there's going to be times where you're together and times where you're apart, and you're going to eventually come together and it's going to be wonderful, or the person's going to push your buttons and they're going to expand, you're going to grow spiritually, blah, blah, blah. It's toxic as F. It's not true. If you're involved in one of these kinds of toxic push-pull, chase-run relationships that these people label as twin flames, it's not your twin flame. People want to believe that that's what that is because they want to believe in the romance of somebody is meant for them. Nothing really wrong with that. But if you're believing that based on a toxic relationship, that is not a twin flame relationship. So, yeah, I did. They're still going, no law broken after being investigated. Yeah, like with regard to painting, have you listened to The Art Spirit by Robert Henry, a wonderfully fascinating book that's far more than simply painting, but spiritual perception? I have not come across that, no. Thank you for mentioning it. I moved last week, and next week a YouTuber I follow is going to be in town for a day of classes 20 minutes from where I moved. Previously, I have been an hour plus away and couldn't attend. Cool, that's excellent. They did that to show that they had achieved union within their program. Yeah. Gotta go. Turkey time. Well, happy Thanksgiving. Oh, you're Canadian? Yeah, it's Thanksgiving here in Canada, and I am not celebrating Thanksgiving, so I had nowhere to go. We don't really celebrate Thanksgiving. We used to, but we just eat, so there's not really any point. But yeah, like they had to push people to find their twin flame, because if they didn't, then they didn't have a successful program. So they started to do a matchmaking system to force people into it. But yeah, yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you. I know it's to me it's shocking how the fall winter season is already here, and it's cold for the first time. Today's quite chilly. We had actually 27 degrees on Tuesday and Wednesday, and 20 something on Thursday. Friday was pretty nice too. But today's the first cold day. So it's been nice. And hopefully it continues to be nice the rest of the for the rest of the winter. Eclipse next week. Is that solar or lunar eclipse? Solstice the week after. You mean the winter solstice in December? Solar eclipse? Okay, where is that happening? The clocks turn back. Good, because I can always do with more time. Over America. Excellent. So, an extra hour of being awake. Or an extra hour to sleep. Oregon. Okay. So like that's the West Coast. Yeah, I think I saw something about that. What are you going to do with your extra hour? I'm probably going to sleep. It's in Virgo. What is that? What does that mean? Where is everybody? All of a sudden, everybody's quiet. So, Axis in Virgo and Pisces. Does anybody know what kind of impact will come uh, from the eclipse? Wow. Okay. How did I not see it? I must have seen that post. Dupsy Daisy, I'm listening still here. Adam, I sent it on Discord. It's over Virgo where the eclipse will take place at her feet, and it's called the birth eclipse. Apparently, it finishes in a town called Natal in Brazil. I think it's big stuff. It sounds interesting because if it's at Virgo and it's a birth one, it ends up in Natal. I mean, hello, it's a little bit obvious, isn't it? I had to pause and play catch up. Yeah, I mean, it sounds pretty significant. It's like I keep hearing a lot of things about these eclipses and stuff, but like, what do they actually do? Like, what's the impact? I mean, I feel the impact of things like, uh, astrological changes or shifts or things that happen in my chart, and Venus going retro, or Mars and Mercury when they went. I think they went retro and they were in the same house or whatever, and it was kind of like chaotic. Like I can feel those sorts of things happen, but I don't think I ever feel much of anything when we have an eclipse. Does anybody feel anything in their own lives from an eclipse? I think things shift over time over eclipses. I hear that prophecy is unfolding. I'm not sure where, but I've had dreams about this. It shifts and changes and maybe new ages. It sounds interesting. Last eclipse was when on one axis this goes the other and makes an X over America. An X over America. Where does the X intersect? Do you know? Because we had that happen in 2017. It was a big deal. That eclipse was a big deal. And that had an intersection point that was kind of significant. Israel marker, stolen land, eclipse means something to them, not us. Well, I think it means something to all of us because it's astrological and it's part of the story. I understand your point. Michelle, I've not felt anything personally during an eclipse either. I mean, it doesn't, I don't know. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's nothing happening. It's just maybe we're supposed to, experience changes in our lives or something. Yes, it will happen 2024, the X over the United States right in the middle. Does anybody know, like, is there a city or anything right in... I'm right over the... Okay, so in Oppenheimer, I don't know how many people have seen Oppenheimer in here. It's a rebirth process, but because of the axis is going through between Virgo and Pisces, it's coming full circle like a new beginning. Oh my God. Okay, Pluto out of retrograde on the 10th, same day as Amazon Prime starts. What do you mean Amazon Prime starts? Intersect X over Texas. I'm not sure where the middle point is, right? Perhaps there's something there. It's calming. I want to say Arizona. Amazon Prime Day. X right over the center of Texas. How many people have seen Oppenheimer in here? Anybody? Anybody seen Oppenheimer? Lots of big deals they do every year. Not yet. Adam. I thought you would have seen it. David's seen it. Michelle has not seen it. No. Okay, so just David? People, you have to see Oppenheimer and Barbie. Okay, so I will explain. In Oppenheimer, there is a moment where Oppenheimer is hired to lead, or he's asked to lead the Manhattan Project. And in a burst of inspiration, he goes to the blackboard and he maps out 4 points and says, these are the 4 most important labs in America. And they are joined together by the railway. So he joins them together with a big X. So these labs are spread out across America, and he makes a big X to intersect them, which would be somewhere in the middle of America. Now, I think then he circles it. So you just mentioned also a circle. Here you said it's a rebirth process, but because the axis is going through between Virgo and Pisces, it's coming full circle like a new beginning. So in the center, he put a circle. So X marks the spot and he put a circle around it. Now, this eclipse is happening with Big X over the United States, somewhere in the middle. But I think that in the movie, the Big X is where he puts the lab, which is New Mexico. So it's not Texas, but it's New Mexico. Plus, I've had Husk Sync. I'm willing to stream it. Which could also relate to the seed covering linked with Virgo, Children of the Corn, X Generation. I hate Barbies. I'll check out Oppenheimer. Seed husk. Well, yeah, like Virgo would suggest new birth, new beginning. I feel coming winter will be a good experience. Big stuff. I hope so. So yeah, like that's, you know, when there's an X like that, I like to know where the cross is. Where does it intersect? I love that. So yeah, I'm noticing there's definite link with Oppenheimer and what's going on right now. Oppenheimer is very, very. It's a very powerful film if you know what you're looking for. Which same with Barbie. All of these movies with hidden messages, and you know, like you can find hidden messages in all of them, but the ones that are rich in hidden messages, like Barbie and Oppenheimer, they if you're watching it superficially, you know, there's still stuff you can see, but if you know what you're looking for and you pull out the deeper message, these movies can awaken new levels of perception within you. And that's why I do decodes of them, but it's also why I encourage you to watch them, because if you discover them yourself, and I mean, even if I point them out, you still benefit because you still have the opportunity to have that revelation within you. But it's much more interesting and much more fun if you do it yourself. But the combination of Barbie and Oppenheimer, it is an incredibly historical event, incredibly important historical event. What we've been through this past year, starting like with the Woman on the Plane series. I mean, the amount of information in the reveal that's coming through that story as connected to, you know, Woman on the Plane, Man on the Plane, Maui, Burning Man, Oppenheimer, Barbie, all of it. That's why I'm spending so much time on this story, because it is incredibly powerful. And I encourage you to, if you have biases about either film, I encourage you to look past them and watch these films. Same with Don't Worry, Darling. I mean, obviously, like if it's freaking boring and dry as dusty dishwater, I wouldn't recommend you watch them. But these are incredibly well made, entertaining films as well. So, but with the added bonus of having all of this rich truth in it, I don't know why you wouldn't want to watch them. I mean, I can understand if it's like a slasher film. I can't stand slasher films, but I watched Midsommar because of the truth, and I'm like, I do not recommend anybody watch that film. It's disgusting. So, yeah, like I will not recommend something if I don't believe that you should watch it. I think it makes 2 X's on solar and lunar, not sure where. Oregon, origin, oregano. I wish I could share photos here. I know, right? It's time for E. I've been trying to find the right time to take it, and it's long. What? I'm confused. My colleague saw Barbie in the theater 4 times. He loved it. We just missed it here. I think it's a fantastic film. Like, Barbie is highly entertaining, even if you don't like Barbie. Like, the story is entertaining, and like the more I watch it, the more I like it. And there's some flaws in it, yeah, but you, depending on how you watch it, like what you're watching it for. If you're watching it for the esoteric knowledge, it's not flawed at all. If you're watching it for the superficial story, then yeah, it's got holes in it. But same with Don't Worry Darling. If you're watching it for the esoteric knowledge, it's a masterpiece. Don't Worry Darling is a fucking masterpiece. I mean, I would die on a hill for Don't Worry Darling, that movie. Like, I can't say enough about it. And Barbie is very similar to Don't Worry Darling. And if you watched, even if you haven't watched Don't Worry Darling, I highly recommend you watch Don't Worry Darling, Barbie, and Oppenheimer. And pay very close attention to all 3. There was a lot of dialogue in Oppenheimer, but I loved it. Yeah, it's a very talky film. I like talky stuff, but I find sometimes with movies like that, if you're not really like fully paying attention to what's being said, you can miss a lot of stuff because there's not a lot of action. It's just people yapping all the time. And it can lag a little bit, but it is a highly engaging movie. And after I broke it down, the breakdown and my interpretation of it is so it's so powerful that seeing the movie this way shows Oppenheimer's brilliance, because I think those aspects of it are easily missed. And Nolan is a freaking genius, but I did find the movie was a little self-indulgent, at 3 hours long. But there's a lot of genius in it. There's a lot of brilliance in it. There's a lot of power in it, and I hope I can get this video out on Monday, but I don't know if I can. Very arty, and I saw the messages, the bomb going off in his head imagery. Yeah. Sorry, moving and typing. It's a time issue for me to sit down and watch Oppenheimer. Well, watch it in 2 sit downs. Yeah, like, it's a long movie. It's 3 hours long. I recommend watching it in 2 sit downs, 1 hour and a half at a time. Not seeing Oppenheimer. Phoenix, Arizona comes to mind with regard to the X. Could be. Don't Worry, Darling is perfect. I'm sure it's Arizona. Phoenix makes sense. Well, you have to look it up and find out where it intersects. I adore Christopher Nolan. Yeah, I like his stuff. Journeyman. So many of the movies recently seem to refer or resonate with what's going on. Asteroid City also seems stacked with references, especially You Can't Wake Up If You Don't Fall Asleep part near the end. Yeah. I skimmed through Asteroid City. I'm not a big fan of that director. I forget his name now. But I have enjoyed some of his past films, but he's so weird. But there is a lot in there for sure, and like I said, I think some of these films are getting more and more obvious, on purpose, because we're waking up. So I think it's just reflective of what's going on in our consciousness. And yeah, like I will say about Asteroid City, there's one scene that I really liked. Like I said, I didn't watch all of it. Excuse me. Wes Anderson, thank you. Also features nukes, time slips, aliens, Margot Robbie, and Barbie, who started in the year Babylon. Yeah. So the one scene that I really enjoyed, which almost made me want to do a video on it, almost. I found it really painful to watch the movie, to be honest. It's so slow and dry. Anyway, there's a moment where I forget which actor it was. Anyway, he comes off the set and he goes backstage, and then all of a sudden it's black and white because he's walked into another, I guess, dimension, so to speak. And so he's backstage, and that's where he meets Margot Robbie on the balcony of the other theater. So he's on one theater, she's on another. This represents the two worlds, top of the mountain of the two worlds. She's the divine feminine, he's the divine masculine, and they're talking to each other from the balconies, Romeo and Juliet's balcony. And so they're in two theaters because it's two different worlds, two different shows. And they're talking across a gap. So there's the Zeus Canal in the middle, and that's the scene that I really liked. Now, that to me was the only scene that I was like, almost want to do a video on this. Yeah, that scene had the hair standing on the back of my neck, especially her piece to the camera, which was magnetic. Yeah, like her monologue, and she was the queen. She was dressed as a queen. I can't wait for your Oppenheimer breakdown. Cool. Yeah, I'm excited about it. Like I said, I've written the script, and some of the details I've pulled out of it are kind of exciting. They're very exciting for me anyway. Adam Phoenix references a 9, maybe a false flag, phony 9. There's a film called TrueLove, the film on Google TV at the moment. What is it about? I think I've heard of it. Oh. No, that was something else that I've heard of. What is it about? But yeah, like it's interesting when you see these movies showing the truth almost blatantly, and there's still a lot of people who don't see it. Like, we see it, but there's not everybody who's watching these movies sees it. And even there's still a lot of people who are seeing things from a different perspective. Like, they can see the codes, they can see the symbolism and everything, but they interpret it a different way, and that it's like satanic or whatever, which isn't the truth. So, but they're seeing it, which is half the battle, right? Because at one point they'll eventually realize, well, hang on a second, why did I think this is satanic? That means this and this means that. So hopefully they'll get past that part and they'll start to see what it really is. Gotta run. Bye all. Bye, nobody knows. So anybody have any films that are your favorites in terms of truth films or TV shows? What are your top films? It doesn't even have to be top. You know, anything that you really enjoy that's full of truth. Films or TV shows. Like, to me, Westworld, so truthful. Another one that's really good in terms of movies was Gods of Egypt. That one's really good. And another one is what is it? The Immortal Gods or something. I can't remember the name of it, but it was one that I pulled out a scene that I keep referring to, where Zeus is on Mount Olympus and Hades comes to talk to him, which is basically, let me loose on them. I've seen you temper your rage. I want to see some rage from you when you temper your wrath with love, and I get my fuel basically from fear. So that scene, I can't remember the name of it, but that's a good movie too. I recently watched Branded. That's quite good. Is that TV show or movie? The Count of Monte Cristo was my all-time fave, and the Book of Eli. I've seen the Book of Eli. That was a good one, yeah. I haven't seen Count of Monte Cristo. Celestine Prophecy, yeah, I've seen that. That's not bad. It's kind of a mediocre quality film, but it's not bad in terms of truth. There's an amazing movie called Dark Song, which is about magic and dealing with loss. Low budget, very intense, worth seeking out. Bye, Michelle. Thanks for joining. Journeyman is one called Immortals, I think. Henry Cavill, I think that might be it. Henry Cavill and John Hurt. Callie, True Love, a teenager with Williams syndrome travels across America to meet another individual with Williams syndrome to help tell their stories. Interesting. 2012. Yeah. The one about the eyes is a good movie. Severance is good, yeah. I've seen it all so far. What is there, like 1 or 2 seasons or something? Yeah, I'm gonna do a brief video on that at some point because the opening scene of Severance has so much in it, and there's a lot to it. As soon as I started working on the opening scene, I've already written something to make a video about it, but as soon as I started working on that, I started wanting to do more. So maybe I should do a little bit more on it, because there's a lot in Severance, and I'm not going to get too into detail about the whole thing, but yeah, I think I'll do like a short one, maybe. But yeah, that's worth watching too. Severance is really good. It's a bit slow at start, but it's really good. And it's a bit on the dark side for the truth, but if your experience is dark, it can be dark. I like Henry Cavill. I like John Hurt. He's a good actor. Yeah, Immortals is good. I think that might be the movie I was talking about. But what was the other movie, TV show? Oh, the one I was talking about was about the eyes. So there was this movie where this guy finds this woman who has the same eyes as finds this young girl who has this same eyes as this woman he was with, sort of like a past life type of thing. And then there's the one about the two worlds. That one's really good too. In terms of showing the two worlds, it's good. As a movie overall, it's kind of but it's okay. Anybody else? Anything else? Any final thoughts? Midnight Sun from a few years ago had another world in the same space SPE. Midnight Sun. I haven't heard of that, I don't think. Might have done. I don't know. Same space, very superior sci-fi, same plane. Okay. Samadhi movie. It's interesting. I haven't heard of that one. Anything else? Anybody got any more? Or any other comments? If not, I'm going to wrap it up. But the Samadhi movie, The Path. Okay. Yes? I'm almost done. Okay? Look at me like that. Branded is about a guy who does a ritual that lets him see creatures. They are attached to people and represent desire and greed and stuff. He's in advertising. It's worth a watch. Okay. It sounds similar to, in a way, it sounds similar to the, okay. What's the name of that movie? Limitless with Bradley Cooper, where he takes these drugs and he can do anything. It's kind of like, unleashing your God power. So that one's interesting, but it's not like loaded with esoteric truth or anything. But I don't know. I find there's so much in a lot of things. Labyrinth, for example. It's Midnight Special, 2016, Boy from a World which sits parallel to our own. Oh, cool. Midnight Special. Okay. Cool. Okay. Well, I'm going to leave you with this. If you haven't seen Barbie or Oppenheimer, go watch it. And if you haven't become a member of my website, you can do that by going to truelove.com/membership. And there's a new video comes out every Monday. And if you haven't joined the Discord group, there's a link in the description box to join the Discord group, and you can have discussions with other like-minded people. And if you would rather just to support my channel, you can like this video, comment, subscribe, or contribute, make a contribution or a tip, whatever you want to call it, to keep this channel going. That'd be great. So yeah, lots of fun things coming, and I'm gonna go work on the Oppenheimer video, hopefully get some more of that done. If not, who knows, maybe I'll do Severance instead. Okay, thank you. It's been nice catching up on the live stream. Best wishes from the UK. Thank you, Journeyman. Thank you very much. Apotheosis, Sam D Movie, Pathless, YouTube. Oh, it's on YouTube. Dr. Dwan, Predator 2, where the detective played Danny Glover, overcome his fear of heights while pursuing unseen predator. Yeah, Predator's good. Terminator is another one. Hi, my dear friend. I'm late, but I'm here. Well, Light, we're just wrapping up, so you can go back and watch it from the start. But we're just wrapping up. But it's good to see you. Glad you could join us. Best everyone. Be fearless. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night. Happy Thanksgiving, Canadians.